own government, its own taxes, its own money. So there was a great confusion. But no state wanted to give up any of its privileges, and it seemed hopeless to institute one central government, for each state thought only of itself, and each one was afraid of giving Congress too much power, lest it should usurp the power of the state government. The states quarreled with each other about their boundaries. Some of them made absurd claims to vast territory on the strength of their royal charters, quite forgetting that these charters were now done away with. There were riots everywhere. Indeed, never was the state in such danger of shipwreck as now at its very beginning. Washington, from his quiet retreat at first, watched the struggle anxiously, but not despairingly. "Everything will come right at last," he said. "My only fear is that we shall lose a little reputation first." As time went on, however, he grew more anxious. "I think we have opposed Great Britain," he said, "and have arrived at the present state of peace and independency to very little purpose, if we cannot conquer our own prejudices." But Washington had no real need to fear. The men who had fought for their freedom proved themselves worthy of it, and in May 1787 a meeting of all the states was called at Philadelphia. Of this convention, as it was called, Washington was chosen president. It was no easy post, nor was the business for which the members of the convention were called together a simple business. They had indeed a very great task to perform, the task of forming a new constitution, or mode of government, which all states would accept. It was not easy to please everyone, and also do thoroughly good work. So for 4 months the convention sat, discussing this and that, listening now to one side, now to another, weighing, judging, and deciding. But at length the thing was done. In the same hall where the Declaration of Independence had been signed, the Constitution had been framed. Then the delegates went home, and a copy of the Constitution was sent to each state.
It had been agreed that 9 states must accept the Constitution before it could become law. The question now was whether 9 would accept it or not. Many hesitated a long time, for it seemed to them that this new Constitution, which was going to unite all the states into one, was going to also give far too much power into the hands of a few people. It would be a case of tyranny over again, many feared, and having suffered so much to free themselves from one tyranny, they were not ready to place themselves under a second. But others at once saw the need of a strong central government and accepted the new Constitution wholeheartedly and almost at once. Delaware had the honor of coming first early in December 1787, but before the month was gone, 2 more states, Pennsylvania and New Jersey, followed the good example. A week or so later came Georgia and then Connecticut. After a good deal of hesitation, Massachusetts also came into line, then Maryland and South Carolina. Only 1 more state was now needed to make the Union safe. Would that one state come in, the friends of union asked themselves, and they worked their hardest to make people think as they did. At length their efforts were rewarded, and New Hampshire made the 9th, and just 4 days later the great state of Virginia also came in. New York soon followed, and only North Carolina and Rhode Island remained out of the Union. But in time they too came in. Rhode Island last of all, and not for fully a year after the first president had been chosen and the government organized.
The new government required there should be a Congress to look after the affairs of the nation, with 2 houses, something after the fashion of British Parliament. It also required that there should be a president at the head of everything. There was little doubt as to who should fill that place. George Washington, the man who had led the army to victory, was the man chosen to be first president of the United States. Other people were indeed voted for,